Good morning. It's a beautiful, what is this, Wednesday? Wednesday morning. Good to see you all today. I hope you're doing well. We're going to be talking about some new vocabulary, and then we're going to go into the lesson, which is surrounding these new vocabularies. We're going to do some more specifically on translations today. So this is starting our unit on transformations, which is the movement of something onto another object to check to see if they are, in fact, the same, which we call congruent. All right, so those are some new vocabulary words. Let's jump into some of these for now, just for today. So translation. Translation means movement from point A to point B. You can think of it as sliding. Okay, specifically, we're talking about movement of sliding. This is easiest when thought about on a plane, right? Like an XY axis plane. You can either move right or left, or up and down. Okay? Right or left, up or down. Those are our options. That's translation. Let's think about a vector. A vector is looked at as an arrow. And this arrow signifies two things: direction. It tells you which direction you're going: north, south, east, west. Or it tells you I'm going right, left, upwards, downwards. And then it also tells you the second thing: distance. How far am I going in that direction? Distance. So vector is an arrow that tells me direction and distance. Which direction I'm going and how far am I going in that direction. Am I going 2 meters, 10 inches, 1,000 feet? How far? What's the distance? And the direction. Right, left, up, down. Okay, and my last vocab word is prime. The notation for prime is apostrophe. Say it with me: apostrophe, comma, apostrophe, comma. Right? Apostrophe is the one that's on top. You can think of it as, like, here's an example. If I want the prime of A, I would say A prime instead of A apostrophe, A prime. Okay, this apostrophe is called prime. The definition is, it tells us the new position from the old position. So if I move from, let's say, this point to this point, and this was point A, if I moved here, so let's put our vector showing us the direction and the distance, right? So our vector, and we are doing a translation to this new point, which we can call A, because it's the same point, just moved somewhere different. We call it A prime. And that's how we use all three of these definitions together. We had a translation, a movement, right, a sliding. Maybe we went some units right and some units down to get from A to A prime. We went there using a vector, which told us direction and the distance. And then we signaled the new position, the new spot here, right? The point's now here, as A prime. Okay? Right. I'm going to go ahead and pause and let you guys all write this down. Okay, 1 second. All right, that's better. So let's look at page 11. Page 11, we see some shapes on there. I'm just going to draw one, maybe two, and we're going to see what we're going to do with these shapes. Here's my moon. This is shape R. This is shape R. And we're going to translate shape R 2 units to the right and 3 units down. Okay, so let me just put a couple points for reference so we can make sure that we're moving our shape accordingly. So I'm going to move the whole thing 2 units right. Let's say that's 1, 2, and then 3 units down. Okay, so now this whole shape is moved down here after I conduct that movement. So I would draw the exact same shape. Sorry, my drawing is not that accurate, but pretend these are exactly the same. So now I'm going to relabel it. Since I moved A and B, these points down here, they're now marked A prime and B prime. Okay, and even my new shape can now be called shape R. Guess what? Prime. Okay. And then our vector we symbolize as this. See how vectors can be multiple vectors. It doesn't just have to be one vector. We can represent this final vector using these 2 vectors. So this vector right here can be represented by this one and this one. Right? This one and this one get us to the same point as this vector. All right, so that would be a translation. If you wanted to describe it, as we talked about yesterday, this would be described as translate. So this is step 1. Translate R. How many units? 2 units right. And then our second step would be translate R 3 units down. To get, guess what, R prime. So if we want to finish that, we could say to get R prime. All right, so yeah, you would just do that with all the other shapes. Go ahead and decide how far you want to move it. It doesn't have to be 2 units to the right or 3 units down. That's just what I chose. You're going to make your own vector. Maybe it's going to be 1 unit up and 2 units right. Or maybe you're going to make it 2 units left and 5 units down, right? You get to choose where you want to put your vectors to move your original shape somewhere else to get your new shape prime. Okay. So go ahead and show that on your paper. I want to see 3 arrows and movement of 3 different shapes. So maybe you want to move shape S, Q, and V, and then move each of those shapes in one direction. So I want to see 3 vectors. Go ahead and do that now. I'll wait for you. Okay. Let me go ahead and clean up this board. All right, that's better. All right, let's look at this one. We're going to check out some diagrams here. I'm just going to do one of these for you again, and I want you guys to try this out with the rest of them. All right. Let's do line E. Let's try out line E. Okay, line E is just written right here. We know this is line E because one of the points is labeled E, so we're just going to call this line E. The line ended right at point E. Okay, this is a line segment because it has 2 points connecting to the line. It's not an infinite line or array. Okay, this is a line segment. And then we see that all of these different figures, we have 3 of them on this page. I don't know if you guys see the 3. For example, F prime, G prime, is one of them. So that's a new one, actually. Right? That's the new version of one of those lines. We have line E. We have line D prime, which is going to be what this is going to become. And then we have the third one. It's not a line, it's a angle. We have angle ABC. Okay, and all of these different figures, these lines, are going to be turned into the new ones using, remember our vocab, vector HI. So we're going to use vector HI. And we see that vector, it's on the right side of the page. It looks kind of like this. We start each point just like H, then we're going to finish it right there at I. And you can see the vector. So let's take our line. Let's translate it using our vector. So we're going to translate it using our vector. So we're going to literally just take this, attach it right here. That's pretty accurate. Do your best job. This point is also H. I attached this line starting at H on point E, and I'm going to translate this line all the way down using this vector. So go ahead and think of it as a slide. Is that pretty good? Okay, there's a line E. Is it just E? No, we got a word to describe a new one. We're going to call this line segment E prime. So go ahead and put the prime on the top right corner of the E to label this line E prime. And if you have different colors, I suggest writing your new lines as a different color just so you don't get confused with the original one. All right, and that's pretty much it. If you didn't understand that, ask me. You can also just rewatch the video. That's pretty much it. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.